Hello, welcome to this short recording. My name is Benard Irungu. I'll be walking you through the loan management system API. Please excuse the common cold. I hope I'm quite clear on this. But this is basically an efficient and scalable solution for handling loan applications, subscriptions, and credit scoring integration as per the coding tests system architecture. And basically the key features that I've built into this application is the authentication, the loan subscription and processing, the bank integration. So this connects to the core banking system, the credit scoring, and the database management. For now, I've used a very simple SQLite. It's not the best to use, but for purposes of demonstration, it's basically this test.db. Ideally, I would have used Postgres and I would have used an online version or an app service on Azure. But to reduce the limitations or the cost policies to do with Azure platform, considering that the application for this job required me to use GitHub, I've just used this very simple DB. It has its own limitations, such for instance, when you are doing the migration, it cannot simply simple activities such as drop table or modify table doesn't work, so you occasionally have to delete it. But nonetheless, there's that database management version, there's an error handling and logging, and there's the API documentation. And just before I go to the API documentation, my app project directory, it looks like this. There's the Alembic, and then there's the app, the test, and this is a virtual environment. There's a readme for the GitHub. In the app where the main application is, on a very high level, the app is the code structure is divided into three platforms or three different folders. I have the CRUD functions, the routers, and the schemas. Although there's a directory here called auth, basically it's all wrapped up into CRUD, routers, and schemas. Basically, for you to for the application is based on the CRUD is what I use. This Python file is what I use to send data to and from the database or the external APIs where I'm required to consume an API or expose an API. And then the routers, these are basic routers for fast APIs, and then the schemas is what it validates my datasets once between posting and reading from the DB. Yeah, I have other tasks around, so like the background tasks, that's supposed to be based on Slurry, but I've not fully implemented this. I could do so if required in a different testing stage. And then there is the create admin script. This is basically for creating a user and debugging. The rest are regular code files. The tech stack that I've used, that I've already mentioned, is Fast API and the SQLite database, JWT for authentication, and then obviously there is the GitHub. I'm going to proceed on to a small demo of how this works. Where need be, I could do more and do a one-on-one where I demonstrate how the code works in detail. I'm going to use the excuse me for a moment. Alright, sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and use the Fast API documentation for this demo, and this is the simple command that needs to be run, and then from there you can access it from here. Actually, from here you do localhost in your computer and specifically use the 800. It did not work because I did not put a semicolon between this and the port number. Supposed to be that. You then add the tag docs, which will lead you to the documentation of the application. So these are the different APIs that I've built, the authentication, and as required I've also built the loans, which is to subscribe the customer, where what is required is the customer number, the name, and the email is actually the customer ID. I'll rename that and post and do the corrections. And then there's the apply for a loan, which requires the customer ID and the amount, There's the loan status, which basically you add the loan ID. The loan ID is a response here on the apply for a loan API. And then there's a know your customer, which is get to know your customer, the customer numbers provided with the documentation, get the transactions. Again, you pass that here from this section. And then for the scoring engine, is expose the transaction. Again, it picks the customer number and gives you a response. The same case goes for the registrations. Actually, there's a registration elements for the scoring engine. There's a typo there. I'm going to correct that. And this for the initial scoring query, the customer number, which is going to you use exactly what has been provided, and the scoring where you get a query. I don't know the in-depth that is required if I should do a very long video, but basically the one step that is I'm going to demonstrate one of the APIs, which is the login. The username as provided is admin, and then the password that we are supposed to use was pwd123. This basically is supposed to give you a token. If it's going to give you a token, there's an incorrect name with incorrect username or password. Let me correct that. But basically it's supposed to give you a token. I'm doing something wrong. But from here you're supposed to receive a token that is supposed to admin not found in the database. Let me correct that. So I am supposed to create an admin here. Apologies about that. And I'm going to use this script. So Python 3. Let me create the admin first. The wrong directory. So once the admin has been created, I could log in from here, and then using the access token, you can pass it here, which is to authorize. And then once it's authorized, then you can proceed on to read users and use the rest of the APIs. So this is the only one that I've added an authentication formula to, which can only run once the authentication is successful. The rest of them, the loans, the core banking system, and the scoring engines, they don't have authentication yet. So kindly let me know if there's going to be a second demo that I'm supposed to do showcasing all these APIs. I've already set up the code to my GitHub as requested and use the link, and the link has been shared in my submission. So this is it for now. Let me know whether I should do a longer video where I go into detail to do with each of the APIs and also the code. I could run through each and every other code that I've written here and maybe point out what has been done and what needs to be done to improve all this. Thank you. That is my 10 minutes video.